Hey guys, Robert here, and I have Ian with me once again as we're going to be going over, well, the recent out of nowhere, and it was kind of out of nowhere, revelations about the new 52, and a lot of the issues that came about and everything. And part of why I have Ian here is because he knows more about it than I do, because I got blocked by Gail again. Probably blocked by it because I know I never said anything to her directly. No, right now he's still getting it already.
Unfortunate. Well, I have her thread up, but I want to make sure we don't miss anything.
All right. Well, while he's doing that, I guess I could just say something on a different note. Okay, to all of those you guys complaining about He-Man, Masters of the Universe, Revelation stuff, I will openly admit I do feel there's a red flag with them making King Grayskull black when he's supposed to be the precursor for a He-Man and all that. And yes, the guy who's either directing, producing, I keep on hearing conflicting reports on it. Whichever that guy who made the comments does come off a bit of a white knight, but if that's the worst they're going to do, because I looked at the trailer, it does not look like Teela's taking away the movie. I mean, did you see the trailer? Oh. Well, I did, and I personally felt like it looks like Teela's going to be the co-lead, not... Oh, Adam is just here in name only. If nothing else, it at least earned, like the first trailer, my, I'm going to at least check it out. You at least know that type of a feeling, right? You know, where a movie gets you that whole, I'm going to reserve judgment for when I see it. I'm not going to condemn it like everyone else is.
No, you should definitely condemn everything before you see any of it. Come on.
Oh, no, you should condemn it while it's in production.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, but so okay, you got it all ready. But seriously, I just want to get that out of the way. If you notice that, it's now gotten to the point where, oh, the Flash movie. Oh, he made this comment. Oh, it's going to be woke. Oh, it's going to be this. It hasn't even started yet.
There's all these rumors about like Pattinson refusing to work if they let what's his name, the '89 Batman. And,
Michael Keaton.
Yeah, there's like all these rumors. I'm like, whatever. Okay.
Believe it when I see it.
Exactly.
And things like that. But when they're saying stuff like, "Oh, the director of the Flash called Flash and Michael Keaton's Batman a bunch of idiots, and it's going to take Supergirl to be coming in and showing them what to do," it's like, what?
Again, if that actually ends up happening in the movie,
then I'll be ticked off.
About. But I mean, you saw the whole thing about Black Widow, where people are like, Black Widow puts men in their place.
And yet I saw a purchase thread then.
No, it's just a normal Marvel movie.
Yeah, I saw a purchase thread about it. I trust him over everyone else.
Exactly.
So, okay, you got everything ready to go. Okay. Yep.
Oh, and a little background. So this, I think, came from the whole Nightwing covers that were revealed with Barbara Gordon having a new Batgirl outfit on it. Mm-hmm. And there were a bunch of people who were raging about how Tom Taylor hates disabled people. And,
what?
Yes. And so Gail Simone was, is friends with Tom Taylor, and she's like, this is a decision made with the New 52. And that's what sort of got at her saying, oh, well, let me share some history. It's been 10 years. Let's talk about the New 52.
Hey, that's perfect. 10th anniversary. Why not?
I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now Gail Simone started with this tweet after a couple exchanges about Tom Taylor's Nightwing. She says that there's no villains, and she thinks it was a sincere effort. And I think that's probably fair.
Especially with the deal gone. You think she'd throw him under the bus, because I remember right, she had no love for him.
No, actually, I think Gail actually likes Dan quite a bit.
Really?
Yes. I've watched several interviews. She actually did an interview with Jeff Thorne and Margaret Bennett a couple years ago, and she talked about how Dan really supported her when she made, not when she had Alicia come out as trans, and
right.
She thinks that Dan has his heart in his right place. I think she's always had a good relationship.
She does. I will always say that. I think Dan's heart was always in the right place. He just had the wrong mindset for what should be done.
I think Dan never meant to hurt people. That's all I'm willing to say.
All right.
I don't like Dan. There's a reason that I refuse to talk to him at cons, because I would not be polite.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. I still like Dan. For one, I think I've said this before. I'm never going to get the one time I raised my hand. First of all, right before this convention, I once emailed Dwayne McDuffie, back when he was alive, back when he did his emails and everything, and asked him, do you have any plans of doing something with Dr. Light? And, well, no, this was after the convention, sorry. During the convention, I asked, what's going to go on with the female Dr. Light? What's going on with her? Justice League, all right, just wait and see. Then right after the con, I emailed Dwayne and asked him, like, ooh, can't wait for this. I have no idea what you're talking about. She shows up in there, met him at a convention later. This was a year before he died, and he openly admitted, yeah, that came from Dan, right? And actually, I'm like, wait, did I catch him on the spot and then basically had him have to eat his own words, so he put her in there and giving her a slight resurgence? Say what you will about the man, but when he sometimes opens his mouth, he at least follows through on it.
Yes, and I remember back when Chris Priest was on Deathstroke, he said that he'd like to go to 50. And Dan, on a panel, Priest said this on a panel, and Dan's like, okay, you're going to 50. And he did. This was with very low sales, so he kept his word.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't like the man, but I do think he didn't try to hurt people, and he tried to do his best. I will say
exactly. That. And if you ask me this as well, aside from when he shot himself in the foot by focusing so much on Bendis and all the stuff that came from there,
that was a huge career mistake.
Oh yeah, but he really focused so much on trying to keep the characters mostly true to themselves, and I think he was a shield, keeping a lot of the wokeness out.
I mean, he was very
like he was progressive, but not to the detriment of the characters like some at Marvel would be.
Yeah, he was interested in, trying to keep as broad an appeal. Now, I think he was sometimes wrong about what the broad appeal was, but I think that was his motivation.
Exactly. But again, he was better than Marvel was at that, if you ask me. As far as keeping, again, with the characters, I mean. Dude, you kind of you froze for a second.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you kind of froze on this. You're like completely still. It's like, dude.
So Gail answered questions on Twitter is based on this thread for about 2 hours. It was really quite impressive.
Basically an AMA.
Yeah.
Sterling Gates jumped in. I know that.
Yeah, Sterling Gates and James Tynan and a couple other people.
Did Kyle Higgins at any point?
I saw him say one thing. I didn't track his timeline. Actually,
all right.
We're going to look at what James Tynan said too, but that was a lot shorter. So she got it trending, and there's a question about Alicia being part of the Bat family. Gail said that Barbara was going to be injured in the fight with Nightfall, who was her big villain.
I remember Nightfall.
Yeah. And she confides in Alicia, who decides to wear the Batgirl suit. And it would have made it more of a neighborhood patrol, only the neighborhood is the worst part of Gotham. So this would have been basically after she left, because she ended her run with the big confrontation with Nightfall.
Right. Wait a minute. Wait. Was this her leaving the first time, or
no? This is her leaving the second time, because the
one leaving by her own choice.
Right.
All right.
Someone asked, "What's a bad editorial practice that she saw and that she'd be wary of?" Gail said that she's suspicious when editors don't want creatives talking to each other. She thinks it's a bad practice. And at the beginning, that was company policy, but it got better.
I definitely see that. Too much of this.
Oh, man.
The right hand didn't know what the left was doing. I mean, look at Perez and Morrison.
Oh, man. Yeah, that was a huge problem.
And that's one of the reasons why Perez ended up retiring.
Yeah. Alex Jaffe, who actually works for DC Universe Online, asked, and this is actually something that meant a lot to me, because I was very angry when I heard about this line. Maybe the most controversial line in your Batgirl run was Bruce telling Barbara, "You were always meant to be Batgirl."
Oh, yeah, I can see why that would tick you off and anyone else off.
And Gail said, "Yes, this again, a thing where a message was not conveyed. It was supposed to be Batgirl's earliest stages in Batgirl Year 1. Those other characters, Stephanie and Barbara, haven't been Batgirl. But he's just telling her he approved she was 100% worthy."
That makes more sense.
And this is a very interesting thing, because Gail was told that everyone was going back to Year 1.
Some did.
Yeah, But Nightwing didn't. So she was writing Batgirl, who went back to year one, and Kyle Higgins was writing Nightwing
as if he
who'd
was
been
so.
Robin and Batman and was Nightwing again. So
And let me guess, that's probably what led to the whole, oh, we have to condense all the Robins into like a few years.
Yeah, and she comments on that later. And Gail says, I think people should realize I would never disrespect Cass and Stephanie.
Well, yeah, look at her Future State book.
Yeah, I agree.
Not Future State,
Future's End.
Future's End.
But I will say that if you don't have that context, let's say you don't read forums and you're not on Twitter, you just read that.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And
like,
I wasn't by that point.
Well, that's kind of like, that's such a, if you don't know that she's writing this from a year one perspective.
Or she blocks you.
Or that. That line just doesn't work. But if you see it as, like, if you read this as being like right after year one, basically, it does make sense.
Yeah.
Let's see. I don't know if she responded to this one. Nope. Yeah, it's kind of hard to see in the thread sometimes. Okay.
No.
So this is interesting. So this
let's talk, Lady Shiva. Let's talk things.
Let's talk Shiva is a very interesting guy. All right. So Eric Philomer says, did you have advance notice that your runs on Birds of Prey and Secret Six were ending to facilitate the Nu52, or was there sudden? So this, of course, is in early 2011 before. And Gail says, yes, they were very understanding about Secret Six. Birds of Prey, they just assumed I would write. They didn't really ask. But I really
I saw a bit of that one.
So, and given what happened with that Birds of Prey run, so I don't like Dwayne Sierzinski's writing. I've read 3 or 4 things by him. Some people really like him, and maybe if I've read some of the more like creator-owned stuff he's done, I would like him.
There's some things I've read that I've been about. Others I just bought out of obligation.
What he did on Birds of Prey was awful. He left plot threads, like he left a plot thread like an issue ends with a cliffhanger, and then he never touches again for an entire year. Nothing at all. Like, it's so badly crafted.
Wait, was he the one who wrote it by the time they had the crossover with Talent, or that was the next writing crew?
I don't know if that was Christy Marks or not.
Yeah, that was Christy Marks. Now that I think about it, that was Christy.
But he read
Christy Marks, wow, talk about an old school writer who I still think got shafted during her time.
I think everyone on that Birds of Prey run in the Nu52 got shafted. It was terrible.
And her Amethyst stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Seriously, who better to bring in for Amethyst than the girl who did, and the woman who did, what was that cartoon show again? Gem and Holograms.
All right, let's talk. Lady Shiva says, between the random spurt of Shakespearean dialogues, tricks making fun of her hair, and that bit at the end where one of the captions says she looks sad, was Secret Six's Lady Shiva a bit of veiled commentary on how she'd been written post-Flashpoint? And Gail says, slightly. My feeling is that Shiva is DC's apex fighter. Strix making fun of her hair is just her finding her voice to fight back. But Shiva looking sad does refer to how she had so much misery added to her story. So that's an interesting comment, because I think everyone will agree that Shiva was not well done in the Nu52. She had that weird dragon tail on her costume.
Yeah, Tom DeFalco tried. I think he tried.
But that costume was not a good plan. Rebecca asked, how much creativity were you given? Like, did you come up with how Barbara could walk again, or was that set in stone? Gail says, we were given a lot of edicts. I put my foot down on the original I was given for Barbara coming out of the chair. I said I wouldn't write it, period. They kept talking like I agreed, and I said, I'm not doing this book if she gets healed by magic. We won on that one. So this is a very interesting thing. I have to wonder if this is why she didn't...
Why she left the first time?
No, because she basically didn't explain how Barbara was walking again.
Oh yeah, that was one of the most frustrating things about that run.
That was not explained until Burnside after she left, and I wonder if
there was a little hint.
They mentioned that there was a medical treatment in Kenya. That's it. Exactly. They didn't talk about a chip. Yeah. They didn't talk about any kind of exoskeleton or anything. So it was only when Burnside came that you got the chip that,
eventually one of the few good things I will give Cecil Castellini's run some props during that bit during Joker War. That was the only bit I will give her props for. Everything else after that was complete and utter shite.
Oh man, that's such a bad run.
But yeah, that one bit, what moment was pretty like, okay, that's all I'm gonna give is a golf clap.
Alex,
yeah, I get what you mean. No, we don't need the magical cure, especially.
No, magic.
Gale was getting the ball rolling back pre-Flashpoint. It was never going to happen at that point, I'm pretty sure, but she at least got it going where Farber was trying to feel her toes.
Well, there's an interesting thing that we find out later.
Continue then.
About her Batgirl run that didn't happen, but she wanted.
Here we go. Here we go.
This one is interesting.
And she could have shredded Ethan, but looks like she was being.
But this is a remarkably gracious answer. Someone asked what happened with Firestorm, which she co-wrote with Ethan Van Sciver.
Mm-hmm.
She said she always loved the character, but didn't have a take I liked, so I turned it down. DC wanted me to on a second book, but that wasn't the right one for me. I turned it down several times. Ethan had some really cool ideas and talked me into it, but it just didn't work out. It happens.
That is so much more respectful than I think Ethan's given Gale.
That's a really respectful answer.
Although then again,
I am very impressed.
Okay, he might be rude to her now, but I remember in his earlier days.
Well, they used to be really close friends. They did that Wonder Woman story, and
exactly. But I'm saying at the early days of his channel, he was more respectful. As it went on, he's gotten more like, "Oh, Gale was." Although then again, but not as bad as he has been with other creators. So I think he still restrained himself because he probably knows Gale could call him out on it.
Well, I wish that there would be more restraint on everyone's part, and I was very pleased with this answer. I think it's very professional.
Yep.
What DC property didn't get revamped or resuscitated with the New 52?
Oh, Legion. I would agree.
She said Legion. Was there any... this is fascinating.
Yep.
Was there any type of pitching process? Like, was there an opportunity for you to say, if you're rebooting for page one, I've got a great idea for Metal Men?
That explains so much. That explains so much right there.
Gale says there was no pitches.
And that's why it sucked.
And this is the thing. They weren't just told the title. They were told the pitch they had to write to. That is rough.
Okay.
That is
really rough. Time out. I can kind of see where editorial is doing that because you have a deadline. You have a short window to get this done. You cannot afford to wait for the right pitch to come. So I do get that, but it's dumb.
But if you're in that state, you really should have delayed it another 3 months and done a New Year's launch because they started in September. If they'd launched in January and given
but I think because they had the timeline of and they already had Flashpoint in the can, they couldn't come up with a BS. Oh, we're delaying it.
Yeah, but I
think they would wish they'd be praying. Please let there be a delay in Flashpoint. Unfortunately, you have Andy Kubert doing the artwork, and he's always timely.
So fast.
He is so fast. So that was, I think, their one downside was like, okay, who do we have? All right, who do we have doing the artwork? Oh, Andy. Shit.
It's not Gary Frank. It's not Dale Eaglesham.
It's not Phil Jimenez.
Yep. All right. Someone asks, was there an overall editorial vision on the purpose of the New 52? That is, was it supposed to be a wholesale reboot with new ideas and reimaginings, refinement of the most popular version like Batgirl, or whatever the heck Hawkins does?
Isn't that where Sterling jumps in at some point?
Yeah. Sterling, let me see if that
he said it was originally to be a pre-Flashpoint book.
Yes, here it is.
Yep.
So Sterling says, Hawk and Dove was supposed to be a 90s fight book. Big, bold, brash, 12 issues of Hawk and Dove versus the biggest DC icons, who are all infected with chaos seeds.
I miss Sterling.
This was a pitch from before the New 52 that they put into the New 52.
Wait, now, what do you think Liefeld... He doesn't say anything about if Liefeld was connected or not yet.
He doesn't mention Liefeld.
So you have to wonder, was it Liefeld who took over once he came on?
Yeah, maybe it was an issue that Liefeld wasn't attached originally, and then they decided to attach Liefeld for
well, to be fair, he did at least give us at least the Dove portion of, the female Dove and everything.
Yeah.
So anyway, to be fair, he did reinvent the character, so I can see why they felt like New 52. Let's get Liefeld back on board.
Well, and he brings sales, so
and he did at first. For that first issue.
So,
but I miss Sterling. Wasn't he one of Jeff Johns' proteges, I think?
He was.
Whatever happened?
One of the editors at DC hated him, and I don't know who it was. But he's talked openly about how an editor at DC told him that he just wasn't going to make it as a comic book writer.
And and boy, I wish he'd come back.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's gone. Why not? I don't know.
Exactly.
What is he doing?
Yeah, what is he doing?
Oh, he's on TV now, probably making more money.
Yeah, because seriously, he was one of the best of those writers. I'm always like, yes, more from him, man. Where'd he go? Him, McKeever, Sean McKeever.
Oh, I love Sean McKeever, but
Oh, I love his Ravager
to,
backup story.
Yeah, oh, such a great story. I got the
And
trade
even his Titans run, while it got way too dark for its own good, was still, well, it's a lot better than Felicia Henderson, I'll tell you that. Oh, JT Crow, whatever happened to him?
You know, I don't know.
Yeah, he just vanished. The last thing he did was that Bloodstain reboot or something, or not Bloodstain, but the one where those monsters that kind of gave us Hitman, they brought those things back, kind of thing.
I know exactly. I can't remember. Was it Bloodline? It's
Bloodlines. Yeah, he redid Bloodlines, and that was the last thing he ever did at DC.
Yeah, I don't.
Or anywhere. Anyway.
So Maggie Evans says, I remember there being a lot of regular coordinated events between the Bat books, especially when you were writing Batgirl. What were those like to plan, and how did they affect your own storylines? And Gail said, for the most part, these things were originated with the core Batman titles. I love writing crossovers, but we usually weren't asked for input. We were just given the concepts. I always like the challenge. The exception is Scott Snyder. He always makes everyone feel included.
Oh, I could definitely agree with that because...
Well, that thing is true, but it's also not true because Scott Snyder did not make, what's her name? Margaret Scott feel included.
Oh.
So...
Wait, which one was she writing?
She was writing... This was not way back. This was much later when...
right.
Scott was writing Batgirl in Rebirth.
Oh yeah, I remember hearing about that. That was Snyder? I thought it was an editor who told her no.
Well, so... Scott Snyder did that whole pledge thing about I pledge to help women in the industry.
But wasn't that after that?
It was right around the time that Margaret Scott did her revelation about how they treated her. And Scott retweeted Snyder and said, "Oh, I wish you meant that," because apparently he wasn't very good at working with her. So I think it really depends on who he's working with.
All right.
That's true. We know that he has difficulty working with everyone. He works with a lot of people, okay, but not everyone.
Yeah, now, which is fair. I mean, a lot of times, you have some creators who... But I would say this. That was one that I loved about the Batbook crossovers. And there was something I like about Blackest Night, is that these were tie-ins that were not needed, but fit with what was going on.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the interesting thing. So Jeff Lewis asks, I would be interested in discussions around Batgirl and removing such a great character like Oracle in a wheelchair who is central to the line and was their thought of how to replace Oracle or how to have both. And Gail said, I wanted there to be an Oracle, but we're supposed to be going back to year one.
Ooh, I see the rest.
So remember...
That explains even more.
She wanted Alicia to take on the Batgirl role while Barbara was injured. So I think that was when she was planning to make her...
Avoiding the Joker stuff, since we know how Gail feels about that. Much as I don't agree with her on it.
I think that the Joker stuff with Barbara has been overdone. I think we need to give it a rest.
I know, but I'm saying though how she feels to the point like she's one of those who feels Joker would rape. I'm sorry. No, I do not feel that's in him.
I don't agree that Joker would rape.
I think I've said this before, but I bear repeating it. Here's a moment I would see happening. If a guy had an idea of raping a woman, Joker would be like, don't you dare. Yeah, he would get that theory like, don't you dare. Oh, come on, boss. Where's the humor in it?
Yeah.
Well, she's right there. I mean, come on. I repeat, where's the humor in it? Then he would shoot the guy.
Yep. And probably the
the guy that, what about you and Harley? What about me and Harley? What? She wants to do it. Yeah, but he would probably then throw it up there, say what you will about me, but I'm not forcing her. She makes her choice. Even if he's manipulating her, he wouldn't slam her against the wall or anything like that, unless she was being the aggressive one first, I think.
Yeah, I tend to agree.
Yep.
So we have another...
hey, Davia. Oh, Nu52 Superboy was garbage. I think Tom DeFalco got things at least better got things a bit better.
All right, so Justin asks, were you given any explicit instructions for your title? And this is another interesting piece of information. As I said, Birds of Prey was just 2 paragraphs that made no sense, so I turned that down. Barbara had all kinds of stuff turned down. She couldn't wear glasses. She couldn't be a librarian.
What?
She had a cool hideout. She couldn't have a hideout. Like,
what? But I'm pretty sure by this point they knew then, this isn't going to fully be a year one.
Yeah, but I think it just feels like this was not handled well in terms of Barbara versus Nightwing or Batman and Robin or the other core titles. Also, this is interesting. Fan of Dinah, Black Canary, asked what she thinks about the new origin, and Gail just says, "I didn't like the new origin."
I don't agree. I mean, I agree.
I'm with you. I get that Team 7 is a cool thing from, I think, Wildstorm, but I don't think Dinah should be part of that. I think she has her own cool origin already.
Mm-hmm.
Something about Lobo. Gail says she wasn't involved, so she doesn't really have any information there.
I agree with her. It was a legitimate attempt, given everything going on.
Yeah. Stephen Thurtell asks, I heard...
wait on. I don't think they were talking about Team 7. I think they were talking about Birds of Prey.
Well, that was tied into...
Oh.
Because Dinah was one of the main characters of Birds of Prey. So they brought...
Yeah, but then the Team 7 didn't come until a little bit later, I think, right? With Justin Jordan?
I don't
only have
remember
a good
if
number.
Team 7 was a launch title or not.
No, I don't. Let me check. You continue on.
So Stephen Thurtell, I heard the editors were making changes as things went to printer or just after, art and story-wise. Any truth you're aware of? Gail says, I got asked to rewrite an issue of Firestorm completely 3 times, and each time it was lessened considerably. I asked to quit between issues 3 and 4. The editor made me stay until 6. That is
nope, they did not. It was a November 2012. Its first issue was the 0 issue.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah. So that was cause I know that because it was right as Justin Jordan was doing this was his first. No, it wasn't a launch. It was one of his first books. That's why he had all these years planned out. And then when they got cut off, it got canceled. He had to condense it into the last story arc and do a time skip and everything. And that's when he realized, don't plan out that far in advance and think you have all the time in the world. And then once he went on to Superboy and tried to salvage that.
So there was a question about editorial, and Gail says no, and this is a good point. The first few months of the Nu52 were almost dictatorial. But to DC's credit, they realized it and got a lot better about letting creators do their thing, and the stories got much stronger for it. There's some damn good stuff in those books.
I agree. I think people dump on it too much. When it's like, you were buying it, you were praising it at first.
It sold, it brought people in. I personally hated it, and I left, but I think
even Batman?
Yeah, I didn't. I have a real problem with Scott Snyder's Batman, but that's a whole nother video.
All right. Do it on your own channel then, not mine.
I think that is a generally well-crafted run. Let me say that.
All right.
Were the stories about the lack of coordination true? And Gail says, we were painting the car while it was on the freeway. That bit is kind of... So the answer is yes. They were not super coordinated. If you could go back and say one thing to the editors with 0 repercussions, what would you say? I was a fan of the way it reignited interest, but a lot of books fizzled out too fast because of lack of cohesive planning. And Gail says, I was never afraid to say my opinions. That was part of all the junk that came later. I mainly was just trying to say making all the stories so dark made the line seem too homogenous. We needed some joy, some whimsy.
Agreed.
And that's very true. The entire, if you read one of those first year titles, you're just like, okay, I can tell this is the Nu52.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the reason why even Jeff Johns kind of made fun of it with Doomsday Clock.
Yeah.
I know where you stand on Jeff. I know.
I mean, Jeff had a lot of power. He could have said something back then, too.
True, but I think he was having too much fun on Justice League and didn't want to throw that down the toilet.
And what I will say is that even though Aquaman was a bit dark, both Aquaman and Justice League were not dark and edgy.
Dan Abnett, he continued the same tone that Jeff built up, so clearly there was something right.
And Jeff Parker too.
Jeff Parker. Oh yeah, Jeff Parker. No, Jeff Parker, then Dan Abnett.
Well, actually, then it was Cullen Bunn, but nobody talks about Cullen Bunn.
I like Cullen Bunn's work.
I do too, but nobody talks about his Aquaman. Everyone says, no, that's the bad one. Go read Cullen Bunn's X-Men or...
And I remember, I have those issues too. And then you had the Aquaman and the others.
That was Jurgens, though.
No, that was but I'm saying that was pretty decent.
Well, I mean, it's Jurgens. What do you expect?
Yep. But
Okay.
yeah,
There's a comment here about Starfish. But
yep.
She didn't really have anything to say about that, other than it didn't work, which I think everyone really agrees.
Mm-hmm.
She
Although,
said,
to be fair, do you think Palmiani and Connor fixed her or not really?
I love that run. I think that run's really underrated. I think it's very cute.
Well, I love how it brought back Terra.
Well, a different Terra.
4.
Terra
No. The Terra they created beforehand. That's what I meant. Atlee. Hey, Dominic.
It was a really fun little run.
Mm-hmm. And then led right into their Harley.
It was after
it was the same time. It was the same time as their Harley.
No, Harley was 2013. Starfire was 2015. So
okay, so it was. I think during it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was a really interesting comment. Dan Niles asks, "What did you plan on writing after Batgirl?" And Gail says, "Leaving Batgirl was sad because it was such a massive relief. It was my dream gig, but I had to quit. I thought I was done at DC and possibly in comics. But to my surprise, my phone wouldn't stop ringing with offers elsewhere. Red Sonja was great therapy." So,
Tavia, I would disagree with you on Batman Beyond. I love Jurgens' run on that. It was its own thing.
I think it's
it is. I just read through all of the issues. It's good, and it's its own thing if you look at it that way.
There's a lot of really cool world building he did on that book. Really cool.
You know, that does feel a little bit weird how they said, oh, yeah, there was a cybernetic Superman, but he wasn't really Superman. What? And it does feel like they kind of swept away the Brother Eye stuff way too easily and way too fast.
But I think it's very interesting that Gail was so beaten down at the end of her Batgirl.
That explains so much, though, about her after Batgirl, actually.
Yeah.
Because it feels like she lost a lot of her spark.
Like, I think the first year had a lot of good energy, but after that, it just felt like the only thing she really was interested in doing was villains. And now that I know that she felt like she was in a cage of stuff she couldn't do with Batgirl, it makes a lot more sense.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Batman Beyond Rebirth. What about the run? Well, yeah, it's good they brought him back, and I liked how he actually tied it back in with that villain that Kyle Higgins created at the end of the Batman Beyond universe, or Batman Beyond 2.0. That electrical guy that he had be that's Terry in this after being resurrected. I'm like, oh, good, he tapped into the Higgins run, so it's not like it was completely just forgotten.
So, a user asks about the 5-year timeline, and Gail says, I think different editors had different understandings of what we were supposed to do. Batgirl was sent back to year 1, but Nightwing went out with very little change. Great run, though. If there was a clear plan, it was not conveyed. So, this, so Dan Didio has recently said, I think the real problem with the Nu52 was that we didn't have enough plan for year 2. And I think what Gail is saying here is clearly that they did not have enough plan for the first year. So it wasn't the lack of planning that hurt year 2.
Yep. Oh, yeah. I agree with the next one she's about to say.
Oh, yeah, me too. This is asking about Superman and Wonder Woman being in a romance. And she says, I didn't like Superman and Wonder Woman together, even casually. It just feels jarring to me.
Yeah, what the heck was Jeff thinking?
That's something he's always wanted to do.
Thank God. But I think even he knew it was never going to last. I think even he knew. I think he was more taking advantage that this was a new universe. You could start it up. But I got to say, I think some of the other writers handled it better. Like in the actual Superman Wonder Woman book. That actually conveyed it way more. I like
that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jamie asks, how much were creators told about what wasn't canon anymore? And Gail says, almost nothing, and what we were told changed a lot. It was originally pitched to me as year 1 starting point. This meant throwing out a lot of DC's best stuff, but I was told that stuff could be reintroduced. And a lot of stuff was made up on the spot at cons. Oh, DC, why do you do this?
Why? If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have had Dr. Light.
But, like, making up continuity stuff at cons.
Oh, no. That wasn't making up continuity stuff. That was more pushing and putting every character in more of a spotlight.
So this is an interesting one. In hindsight, do you think that the New 52 was worth doing in terms of a company-wide continuity reset? Gail asks, I asked myself this a lot. It raised sales, it got DC back in the game, but it alienated long-term readers too. I think if we had all put our brains in, we could have done something lasting. So, do you think that the New 52 was lasting?
No. Well, some books. Some books.
Well, Batman, obviously.
Green Lantern, obviously, as well.
Aquaman.
Aquaman.
And to some extent, Wonder Woman, even though I wish that weren't the case.
To some extent, Teen Titans. Again, wish I was. I said to an extent. Not exactly. But hey, it lasted pretty long.
Well, I don't think I'm talking about in terms of how long the books lasted. I'm not talking about in terms of what matters to fans.
Oh, right.
I wouldn't say that New 52 Teen Titans matters.
No, hell no. But yeah, as long as they're lasting, you're right. All of those. Oh, geez, yeah, Raven was treated pretty badly. What the hell was that outfit?
That stupid mask for Raven makes no sense.
And they said, oh, look how cool it is. I mean, I love Kenneth Rocafort, but...
That was a weird design. I really like
Plastic Man.
Too,
oh, gee. Ooh.
She says that Plas was not part of the original New 52. There was very little room for fun in the original lineup, which I fought against and lost. And I think anyone who looks at that lineup can understand what she's talking about.
Exactly.
It was a very grim line.
It was. But some were still able to make up for it, like Justice League.
Yes, I would agree there. And Aquaman. Aquaman was not an overly dark
yeah. Well, get Jeff on both of them. You can't deny that.
Yeah.
So, speaking with Jeff, moment silent for the passing of his mentor, one of the best comic. You have Richard Donner.
Yeah.
Seriously, he's the one who got the ball rolling.
He did.
On so much, and he produced so many movies. People forget how many movies he and his wife produced. The X-Men movies, especially.
Oh, he was.
The guy loved his comics.
Yeah, my favorite Richard Donner movie is actually a weird one that no one's seen, but it's 16 Blocks with Bruce Willis and Mos Def. I think that's a great movie.
Interesting. I like Scrooged. That's one of my favorite.
That's the one where
Bill Murray, Christmas Carol. Yeah, you got Scrooged.
So someone asked if it was planned ahead of the time or if it was just a reaction to Flat Point, and Gail says, I don't know. So again, communication wasn't super clear to creators. So someone asked, you said it was originally proposed to be back to year one for many characters. Were there plans behind the scenes for legacy characters we never got to see to take on their legacy mantles, like Cass or Steph especially, since it took them so long to show up at all? And Gail says, not really, because I think it was thought that the priority had to go to those icon characters. It was always felt that we'd get around to all those characters in phase 2. When the boat is leaking, you fix that first, then check the lifeboat. And that is something that I think a lot of people around reboots don't take into account. A reboot is never done for fun. A reboot is done because sales were down. This is the case with Star Wars. This is the case with DC. Every time they've rebooted, it's because sales were down and they wanted to do. But
this was the most drastic reboot, period. Even post-crisis wasn't this drastic.
I don't have a good enough sense of what post-crisis actually
post-crisis, because they still had a lot of carryover, is what I mean. Like Teen Titans.
Talking to like my fellow co-hosts on my podcast and other friends who've been around and collecting since the 60s, they tell me that post-crisis was actually extremely jarring. So I don't know.
I'm looking at this from one perspective, someone who's looking at it in hindsight.
Yes.
But the fact you did have some carryover that led to some issues, and in other cases you had drastic changes, but even then they were still able to fit it in, usually by doing flashback stories, and then we're back in the present day.
So Amy Hightower asked what the thinking around the Titans character was, and Gail says, I don't know why the Titans weren't more forward, but I suspect the editorial felt sidekicks bring down their mentors conceptually. I disagree, but it's a common belief, and I think we know that this is a common belief.
Oh yeah, that is very much a common belief. Heck, look at the Teen Titans Earth 1. Oh, let's just put them all into one book and not have them be anywhere connected to their originators.
Yeah. So Gail says that the New 52 is still a lot of people's favorite era, which makes me glad. I can't say it enough. Everyone was working really hard to make the best stories we could. And
I believe it.
I believe it. I don't like most of those stories, but I think they were trying their hardest. She says she's
caveat. I disagree. I treat Teen Titans Earth One no different than I do any of the others. I look at it like their own independent thing and judge it accordingly. And even if it wasn't what I expected it to be, I really enjoyed it though, because he was given freedom to do what he want. Probably had some restrictions on what to do, and what he turned out was not bad. Especially when you read the second volume.
So someone asked if there was any sense of a New 52 endgame that you were building towards. Was Pandora intended to be involved? And Gail says, not that I'm aware of. For whatever reason, writers were just not in those loops. It was all editorial. And I think it shows, not that they were bad ideas or anything, it just needed more input from the people writing the books. And that
Agreed.
I think that's true. If you're building towards something, you should tell people to start putting stuff in their books.
Here's a big one.
Yes, how would you change events if you were in charge? And Gail says either go all in or fix what they already had. And there just was a lot of chaos. This was an interesting one. I'm curious about your thoughts on the New 52 Wonder Woman, given what you've written a lot of Wonder Woman stories yourself. And Gail says, I love the art. The changes to the mythology are a bit hard for me. I think that's a very polite way of saying it. I would say it much more firmly. Here's a question about the Grant Morrison and George Perez story. Did it confuse anyone? And Gail says it confused everyone.
Agreed.
Very clear. So someone asked about Grayson. Dale didn't do anything with Grayson. So here's a question about the ending of titles. Completely missed this. What was the rationale for ending Secret 6 at the start of the New 52 rather than having you do a rebooted continuation like you did end up doing anyway? And Gail says, I think to make room for new titles. I was never upset about that. It made perfect sense. It was never disrespectful, honestly.
Given how that's one problem I will give some people like Ethan and the others crap for trying to push it as that it was all this disrespectful stuff. And I think Gail's being very diplomatic here.
Yes.
Whereas someone like, again, Ethan or what have you would make it seem like, oh no, it was hostile. People were backstabbed. It's like, doesn't seem like they were. It seems like everyone was trying to, they basically, here's how I look at it. The New 52 was like, imagine they were stuck on, they were on a sinking ship, like a big yacht, and they had to rapidly build a smaller, newer ship out of the whole remains of it while it's sinking. And thus they make a smaller, but still a complete yacht. And then you can still continue on with the yacht cruise and everything. But they did so rush job and didn't play, that there's going to be some points that eventually start leaking. Not right away, because some areas were perfectly pristine. Other areas were, no, not the Titanic. Some of them were, and unfortunately, they were the more lower areas. They looked good. They would pass a spot check, but eventually it's going to slowly leak. Like you wouldn't even realize it's leaking until you feel the water splashing. Do you get what I'm saying? Do you get my analogy? It's a complicated analogy, but you get it?
Yeah. So Ryan asks, what changes to the status quo, if any, did you not care for? And Gail says, they all could have worked. I guess giving Wonder Woman a dad, and it was weird to have 12 Robins and one Batgirl. Both of these, I think, are good critiques. I don't think giving Wonder Woman a dad was a good choice. And I think
but that was clearly done because they knew they were doing it in the movie, I'm sure.
Well, that one I happen to know because I've listened to podcasts.
Bianca.
I happen to know because I've listened to podcasts before the New 52 started. Jeff Johns has always wanted to give Diana a dad. That's
what?
He's always
okay. Wonder Woman is one of the few characters he truly doesn't get ever.
I tend to agree.
I will agree. He gets so many other characters.
He gets a lot of characters. I think he does a good Superman. I think he does a decent
Hal Jordan, all the Green Lanterns.
All the Green Lanterns. I think he does a really good Aquaman.
Batman.
Yeah. But I don't think he gets Wonder Woman.
Oh, can I ask you? Have you read Batman Earth 1 Volume 3?
I've skimmed it. I haven't read the whole thing.
From what you've skimmed, would you at least agree with what I'm about to say, that he's finally given us a fully realized Batman, and it feels like this better than, it feels like it's giving a finality to everything Not as absolute as Earth's 1, Wonder Woman Earth's 1, but not as open-ended as Superman Earth's 1.
Well, I think it's a reasonably well-constructed trilogy.
Mm-hmm. Because when you look at it, first one, he becomes a better Batman. Second one, a better detective. And this one, a better family.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Although the Catwoman design, I don't hate it. I get it. It's supposed to be a case of Selena throwing it together, and she's not going to have a bunch of leather around.
I also
although to be honest, I got to ask, how the heck in Tim Burton's Batman Returns did that simple leather coat become that full-on suit?
No idea.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
The crazy fetishy one?
Yeah, but how did her leather jacket become that full-on suit? Because that's all she had. It was a jacket. She didn't have anything else.
Magic. Well, if you stretch it really tight, then it becomes...
It's leather. It's leather.
No, it's stretchy.
Yeah, she would have ripped by the time she did all those flippy dips.
No, it's stretchy.
All right, anyway.
All right. So this is a question about 52, which is not at all related to the new 52.
Yeah, definitely.
Gail says that people were paying attention, and they had 4 top raters at the top of their game. It's bound to be good. And then someone says that it could have gone badly, but Gail also says there was friction. I think that's interesting because...
I'm pretty sure part of that was Mark Waid.
Yes.
But we also know Dan DiDio. DiDio hated it. That's why he looked at Countdown. Everyone knows. He looked at his Countdown as 52 done right.
Which you should just never say to your creators. That's rude.
Part of the reason why Waid left.
So here's an interesting one. What was the approach to using characters that might appear in other books? I mean to say, if writers were encouraged to keep their stories isolated or instead using the shared universe. And Gail says, there were little fiefdoms of editorial. It could be difficult to do the crossover stuff we used to take for granted. Also, it was felt, and I get this, that guest appearances had become a bit of a crutch. Batgirl sold well. I had a lot of guest appearances. So basically, if your book was selling well, you could use other characters.
To be fair, the little fight that does go back to the original post-crisis.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
that back
Denny
then,
O'Neil and whoever was editing the Titans.
Superman. Mike Carla was Superman.
They were constantly fighting because Denny wanted Nightwing back.
Yep, and Mike Carlin, he ran a very tight ship for good reason with Superman because how many people kept wanting to bring back the Silver Age element, and he's like, no. And so I understand why. I mean, you do know that's why Jeff Loeb was banned from Superman until Mike Carlin left. Did you know that?
I did not.
You want to know why?
Well, because
during
he immediately brought in Silver Age stuff.
You want to know which one? The Superman robot.
Oh, really?
He brought that in during his what was that one? Hold on, I'll look it up. Hold on. Challengers of the Unknown. His Challenge of the Unknown maxi series, and it ended with a Superman seems to show up, and unfortunately the editor working on that book decided, let's sneak this past Mike. Mike was not happy at all. He was ticked off, and that's saying a lot. And again, I completely understand Mike Carlin. I mean, can you blame him? When everyone, people are going to want to try and slip in all the Silver Age stuff, and you're trying to redefine Superman with a limited palette set and everything, you don't want it to go out of control. Which is one of the few things that I will give Eddie Berganza when he got on board. Yes, he transitioned to bringing back more Silver Age elements, but at least he transitioned it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sorry if I'm being loud. Okay, so what's next?
So Cal asks, were there any characters that higher up said just couldn't be introduced in the new timeline? And Gail said, yeah, I wanted to keep Lady Blackhawk, but it would have been a mess.
Oh, yeah, given how that book was.
I'm still so angry we don't have Lady Blackhawk. How hard is it to put her on ice like Captain America? Come on.
Exactly, and I love her. The fact that she's become one of the most recognized of the Blackhawks.
Yeah.
And also just love how she's this... It's like she never fit back in her time, but she fits perfectly now, even though some of her mindset's a little bit, I won't say out of date, but
Was there a character you would have liked to revive for the new 52? And Gail says, yeah, the Marvel family, but that's my answer for everything.
Okay, I know I'm going to get heat for this one. I do not mind Jeff. To an extent, I do not mind Jeff John Shazam, except for how he made Billy a total ass. But I do understand his idea of you cannot guarantee someone this day and age to be a 100% pure soul without it getting too sugary, sweet, sappy. Now, he went too far the other way to make that point, but I do think like just the idea of so long as a person has the potential for good. You get what I mean? Or do you completely disagree?
No, I think that's true.
Again, he totally did not do it very well, but yeah. Okay. I agree, Tavia. I do agree. He made him a complete jerk. That's why I said he went too far the other direction. That's why I think the movie kind of found a nice balance.
Yeah, the movie was great.
Yeah, he wasn't a complete I'm the sweetest angel, but at the same time, he's not like screw you guys.
I hate the world.
Yeah, so it was a nice, because again, let's be honest, original Billy, he can't exist in this world these days. I do not see he can without you having people be like, ugh.
My only real problem with Jeff Johns and the Marvel family is that he refused to let anyone else do them. I think that was.
But when you look at what's happening with this current Shazam stuff, they're getting rid of the family. Yeah,
I'm very angry about that.
I could see. So part of me feels like that's probably why he probably knew people wanted to get rid of the family the moment he wasn't touching it.
But that's so stupid. The family like the best thing he introduced.
I know. I know, but then you have Brandon Peterson, not Peterson. Wait, who's writing it?
This one is
Tim Sheridan.
Yeah, Tim Sheridan.
Who, the funny thing is, he actually has done some decent stuff out there, in TV and media. What the heck happened?
So, someone asked about which book was the most tumultuous to work on, and she said Batgirl by miles. The movement and Secret Six were always just a joy to work on, because nobody bought them. Batgirl had a lot more editorial focus on it because it was a great selling book and the return of Barbara to the role. So the more high profile your book, the more editorial meddling.
That's what it's always like. Why do you think? Look at Daredevil.
Yep, and Daredevil too.
I'm not going to argue on that one, Tavia. I still buy it, but because I think there's some decency to it. But yep, I see that one about Firestorm. We just didn't have a United Vision.
And that was, interestingly, she said, with editorial, not with Ethan.
Again, Ethan would say otherwise.
Ethan was the one who wanted to write it.
Yep, and I get that. Be honest, I don't care for Ethan as a writer. That's why I'm glad you would have someone else doing it, because it would be even more delays.
I think we're getting close to the bottom.
All right. You said you had one from Tinian?
There was one other thing that I wanted to get, because she actually highlighted some.
I'm surprised Palmiotti and Connor didn't jump on board.
They might have. I just didn't see. Okay, because she had this thing on retailers, and that was really interesting. Where was it?
Why not do a Control F and find it?
Because Twitter doesn't search that way.
Oh yeah, I know. It's every little. It does every little chunk. Oh yeah, Jonah Hex was very good, and All Star Western was very good. Having Jonah come back to a Western era Gotham was brilliant.
Okay, so this was an interesting one. Gail said, I will put forward a weird side effect of the Nu52 that was very positive, and a lot of retailers have told me this. It raised DC sales for a good bit, but it was a joke to a lot of other publishers, and they really started upping their game. Not a joke. What was it? Jolt. A jolt to a lot of other publishers, and they really started upping their game to compete.
And that's to an extent. At least Marvel did to an extent, until they decided, let's
flood the shelves with crap.
Yep.
But Image, I think Image, you see a huge resurgence that comes
definitely. From that's the point when they started to get more of the creator-owned stuff again. That wasn't just relying on Walking Dead.
Comicron, so this is John Jackson Miller, says that he can confirm that the Nu52 was not just a pivotal event for direct market sales in the 2010s. Data shows it was the inflection point for the decade, starting a virtuous cycle of sales and pre-orders that grew the market until DC Rebirth at the end of 2016. So the Nu52 really did boost the entire market. It wasn't just DC.
Yeah, exactly. And again, you have people who like to say otherwise.
And then we have one store owner who said that the New 52 sales were strong and also the right move for DC Comics at the time. It did prompt Marvel to try a similar move, which brought more new fans. New fans is what everyone wanted. The downside is chasing those sale numbers with those fans was unrealistic.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's led to the endless relaunches that Marvel's been doing.
But at least thankfully DC was not.
Yes, DC has not, and thankfully still doesn't. But
Yep.
Marvel definitely does.
Although, yeah, the most recent one was the first one since Rebirth, and at least that was a couple years. Oh, I gotta ask, since we last talked, where do you stand currently on DC currently overall?
Overall, I still think it's quite good.
Do you think it's still second to, like, right beneath Rebirth, or do you think it's gone a little bit lower than Rebirth in quality?
Oh, that's really hard because I don't have any standout hits like Greg Rucka's Wonder Woman or James Tynion's Detective Comics or
We're getting a lot of delays.
Deathstroke. So those three I still think are just phenomenal. They're like of all times runs, not just.
Oh yeah, I adore. I can't wait for that omnibus.
Yes,
the Deathstroke one. Yeah,
I think that.
Oh, Tomasi Superman and all that.
I think it is. I think it's a bit more consistent so far. Now, it's hard to say because we're not even a year in.
True, but they're already getting ready with the event with this Infinite Frontier miniseries, which we know, and we have Fear State coming out.
Well, the thing about Fear State is, if you look at the way Fear State is building versus the way Joker War built, it feels a lot more cohesive. Like, Joker War felt very chaotic.
And which I think was meant to be the point, I think.
It wasn't the point. It was because Tynion didn't know if he would be able to stay after Joker War. So he didn't know if he could build to anything or if this just had to be big and splashy.
Right. Well, different thing. Have you heard from any sources you might have why Alfred is still dead? I thought they were going to bring him back after Death Metal.
Yeah, I thought so too.
What the heck?
Oh, this is interesting from Eric Troutman. He said, because he and his wife run a huge comic store in the Pacific Northwest. We saw a short-term sales spike, yes, but the material ultimately turned away more readers than we gained, and even today, we sell a fraction of the DC books we were selling even a couple years before the new.
I can see that.
That's probably also a regional thing.
But I'm saying that probably gave a perfect jumping-off point for those people. But yeah, you're right. That is a regional thing.
Yeah. So that's the end of Gail's thing. All right, so here's what James Tynion said. He started with a poll inspired by what Gail was saying. What do folks consider to be the end of the New 52?
Rebirth.
Well, yes, everybody said Rebirth because it's the right answer. But Tynion says something different. He says it's always fascinating to see the view from the outside because the story from the inside is so shaped by the constantly changing internal structure of the company. Distinct eras of being a freelancer that don't quite track with the larger meta story or the marketing. I think by the time of Batman Eternal, we didn't really consider ourselves to be part of the New 52 anymore. Though looking back, it's still clearly part of that time. But a lot of the way to mark time was, when did the bosses relent on things that were absolutely forbidden? And this one, we know exactly what he's talking about because
what the certain characters that were told hands off were finally
Brown was not allowed to come back until one editor moved from one office to another office.
Wait, which editor was that? I really want to know.
It wasn't Didio because
he
was already publisher by the time the New 52 started, right?
Right.
So I wonder if it was Bob Harris.
Perhaps. But what would he have against them?
He's been involved in a lot of stuff.
Okay. Was it any of the Bad Office editors, or is he talking about above them?
Yeah, I'm not. See, I still don't know because Mike Martz is listed as Batman Eternal's editor until halfway through when Mark Doyle comes in. So originally I would have said it was Mike Martz, but Mike Martz is still in that book, so I don't know who it is.
Oh, going off with something Dominic's saying that I really want to bring up. First of all, Bob Harris did not fully write the Clone Saga, dude. But anyway, I was going to say is that. Guys, this is going a bit of a rant, but I've been seeing some certain YouTuber out there, I'm not going to name names, but going off about claiming how, oh, the multiverse is just done to create other character race bent versions of the characters so they can do this and that. Dude, do you know the multiverse has lasted a lot longer than Spider-Verse? That's what it feels like this certain guy out there thinks about the multiverse. Oh, it started with Spider-Verse. It's gone back long ago. And it was never about doing things to make a race, gender, whatever swap. That might be part of it in some cases if you want to have a cool little story, but it was so much more than that.
Would you say that the Spider multiverse goes back to JMS or before that?
Given how one of the Spider-Man was his, I would say no, it goes before that because you have What If.
Okay.
You had Exiles.
Because I did.
You had Spider-Girl.
I did have a lot of. Oh, that's true. Spider-Girl's a big part of the multiverse.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But I know that JMS did all that stuff with the future Spider-Man with the jacket and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was
the Last Stand Spider-Man.
Yeah, and he also did, of course, Moreland, who's a huge part of the Spider-Verse.
Like I said, I think you know which YouTuber I'm talking about, right?
I haven't paid attention to Spider-Man YouTube for a while.
Oh, no. It's not a Spider-Man guy. He's one of the guys in this CG-like community.
Oh, okay.
Very well regarded. But he keeps on making these statements about the multiverse. Like, you don't know about the multiverse, do you? Stop acting like it's done purely for this. He just went on a rant just today saying how the movies, everyone wants to look at the movies like it's their own separate universe. You should!
Because they're their own separate universe.
Exactly.
They always have been. There's
and
never
yeah,
been a
but the funny thing is, he's one of those who supported Zack Snyder's stuff. Those things like, oh, he gets it, and it's like, no, he doesn't. And yet you're acting like he's not saying even remotely true to the characters. You're defeating your own point.
That's very confusing.
This particular YouTuber just has a bunch of hot takes just to keep the outrage train going for his viewers. He doesn't need to be consistent.
Now, here is a hot take. Eric Larson says, I consider the end of the DC's Nu52 to be 1 month
after
when I dropped every title. Okay, Eric.
Yeah, but what did you think? Ouch!
Oh, and this one's funny. Jeff says, the Nu52 ended when they announced the move to Burbank.
I can see that.
Well, that's Convergence, so.
Oh, good point. That was led into DCU.
But see, DCU still feels like the Nu52. Yes, it's very different in tone, but like,
and they were looser with continuity at that point.
Didn't change any continuity, like True. Not really. Rebirth.
Well, not for everything. Stuff like Black Canary definitely was.
Black Canary was actually pretty tightly connected to.
Well, at first, when you look at it, when you heard about everything planned out, you would think otherwise.
Oh, true.
That's what I'm talking about. Unless you actually read it, when you look at it from the outside, you think like, oh boy, they're starting over again, aren't they? But I agree. I am everyone who says this ended with Rebirth or Darkseid War. Take your pick.
Yeah, I think Rebirth makes the most sense.
But yeah, though. But okay, getting back to my rant for a second. Where do you stand on the multiverse? And if you hear people talk about saying the multiverse lately is just being used to make these gender bent stuff that they can have an excuse to replace them.
I mean, the multiverse has been a thing in DC since '86, so it's
even before that,
older than I am.
Even before '86.
Well, and Earth too. So like,
yeah,
I
ever since the Flash of Two Worlds.
Yeah, I think that.
But you think most people, the mainstream people, don't know about the multiverse until Spider-Verse.
Sure, I guess.
As far as connecting it to comics.
Well, I mean, it was in Supergirl and The Flash, the TV show.
True, but which one had the bigger viewpoint on like everyone saw this, everyone knows more about this.
That's probably true.
Yeah, and that would be Spider-Verse. Spider-Verse was huge and a big shocker. So I think that, and that's when Marvel started saying we're going to do more of the multiverse. And then DC started saying they were doing it. Again, I feel like this particular YouTuber, again, not going to name names, is either he doesn't know what the heck he's talking about, or he knows his viewers, and I hate to say it, that's a large portion of those in Comicsgate, I hate to say, don't know what they're talking about. and don't know what he's talking about, and are just taking his words because they can't think for themselves. I'll be blunt. I think a lot of these people cannot think for themselves, and they have to take the word of these YouTubers.
Well, there's also just so much desire for community that people fake it to be in communities.
Okay, that may be true. That may be true. Yep, I agree to that.
It's that parasocial relationship thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Senpai must notice me.
Exactly, especially when you want certain, again, YouTubers. But it's not going to happen, dude. And then you just have all this stuff going on. I do feel like things are getting better. Now, there's a good chance it could all fall apart. I do feel like there is that very chance of someone pulling the rug right out. Are you getting that feeling at all? Like there's like someone's ready to grab the rug and pull?
Yes.
Especially depending on how Fear State goes.
I just...
Among other rumors I've heard. I've heard other rumors that they are... Mind if I give a rumor I've heard?
Go for it.
The rumor is they didn't drop 5G. They just decided to build up to it.
Well, we know that Infinite Frontier is building to something.
Yeah, but you get what I'm saying. Like they are planning on replacing people gradually. Like Wonder Girl is going to replace Wonder Woman. You're going to have that girl, that person with that binary, non-binary Flash from Future State is going to take over.
I think that's super paranoid of whoever's theorizing that. Because remember, Josh Williamson said that he was not interested in working at DC if they were going to do that.
True.
And he's building up to whatever this big event is with Infinite Frontier.
Oh, I know, but you never know though. It could lead to that.
I just think that the fact
you already have Batman's going to be taken off the board. And Bruce, I mean. Well, that's what it looks like anyway. It looks like they're definitely going for that now. Despite saying that Redley had not much, sway in the things, it's showing otherwise.
Well, do you think that? I don't know. I think that'd be really weird.
Yeah.
Would Tynan start writing Jace as Batman then?
I don't think he would because he's white, and he seems to be one of those who kind of goes by that belief of I can't write the character.
So
then would they put
Ridley on the main Batman book?
I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know.
I know that Tynan has a 3-year plan, and his sales are strong enough that he's going to be here for at least 2 years.
Oh, I know. So who knows what's going?
I don't think that Bruce is going anywhere.
Now they could pull what they're doing with Superman and split it.
I honestly think that's an experiment. I think they're going to give John a year to see how that goes, and if it goes well, they'll keep going.
But given what was Grant Morrison revealed about that Superman Authority book, that's been in the works since 2018.
Yeah, but that's clearly an alternate universe.
No, it's not.
Yes,
this is meant to lead into.
I've read the first book. It's an alternate universe.
Really? Then why does it say it leads into the War World stuff?
I have no idea what he's talking about, but it starts in the 60s, and it's old Superman in the 60s. It's an alternate
universe. Why the hell are they promoting it like this is essential for the War World stuff?
Well, they want people to buy it, so they're lying.
Well, thanks for telling me that.
I mean, it's not bad, and I say this as someone who really doesn't like Grant Morrison. It's worth checking out.
Okay. I just find that just so shocking that they kept hyping this up like this is meant to lead to the War World stuff.
Yeah, just don't buy it hoping that it's going to be like this big in-continuity thing. Because it currently isn't. Maybe eventually it will be, but the first issue is very alternate universe.
Okay. Thanks for telling me that. So, okay then, but look, you're going to have Jace going to be taking over Batman, it looks like. You're having John taking over. Wonder Woman's still off the board.
I don't think Yara... Well, see, there's another thing I found out. So we know how I was complaining about Justice League and Wonder Woman and Detective Comics World double shipping. Well, now I know that Detective Comics was double shipping because they wanted Tamaki to finish her story so she could tie into Fear State. Because Detective Comics
that makes sense. That does make sense because you needed that.
And she wanted to be able to finish her story, which is fair. Wonder Woman, they're speeding up because they really want her to get back to the main universe.
Oh.
If you look at solicitations, it's like clearly leading to her getting back. So they wanted her to get back way quicker.
All right. So that goes against the rumor then that Yara was going to take over.
Yeah,
and that her book was going to be a mini-series, not an ongoing.
Well, see that thing, I feel like they are pushing her book as an ongoing now, Yara Flor.
So you think whoever I heard this from might have been given either old information, maybe?
Yeah, I think older information, because it feels like they have changed things recently.
All right. It's hard to tell. Now, do you think this current stuff going on with them doing with Discovery could help change things even further down the line?
I mean, the Discovery Girl deal has to go through before we can.
True, but you already know they started changing stuff before the AT&T deal went through.
Yes. All I can say is I hope that Discovery is in a better spot financially than AT&T, because AT&T, like everything you hear about,
AT&T still going to be involved. They're going to be the majority stockholder still.
Right, but like everything you hear about AT&T is that they're so in debt and they're so over leveraged that they have no room for experiments or anything. Discovery seems like it's in a much better place financially, so that they'll have more room to experiment and tie in and try things out. And that's really what I want. I want people to be able to be more creative.
All right, but still though, going forward, I'm just still fearful of them pulling the rug out or pulling a fast one on us.
I mean,
because you never know with everything going on with some of the other books that are out there. You never know. Someone could just say, "We're gonna make it all woke."
I'm not unconcerned about that, but it feels to me like at least the Bat Office is mostly in a steady hand because James Tynan's really working well with all the other writers.
Yeah, but I just feel like Ridley wants to shove his way in. It feels like. Doesn't it feel that way to you? Like Ridley is shoving his.
We don't have the first issue of I Am Batman, so I actually was mostly on board with Second Son until the last couple issues,
where it totally ruined Lucius.
Yeah, it ruined Lucius and it ruined.
And then that backup story.
Yeah, but once we get the first issue of I Am Batman, I'll have a better sense of whether I think Ridley is thinking. I just don't know. I think that he is tying into what's going on, and I like that a lot. But like what he's actually doing with his main characters is where I'm like, I'm more interested in his secondary characters. Like,
I agree.
The cop and like,
Batwing.
But
it does feel like he is. And look at how he handled Renee. It's basically matching what he did in other history.
Yeah, I don't like what he did with Renee at all.
It
just feels so wrong. Like she's like, I hate vigilantes. I'm just like, well, no.
You are one.
You're Renee. You always.
And that was at the end of the other hit situation. Said, "Yeah, I'm a hypocrite."
I don't like that.
And I hated how she looked at Bullock. I hated that. It's like you respected Bullock.
Also, like this whole thing about Bullock beating people up, like. That's from the Gotham TV show. Like the comics were never interested in showing.
Once again, he's following what the other media did, like he did with Tara.
Yeah.
Oh, Tara's, you know what I mean, right?
Exactly. I'm just
like the Tara he did. Like you're giving us cartoon Tara. Yeah. Sorry, just got a notification. I had someone reply to a tweet I did. You're a Red vs. Blue fan?
Oh,
Rooster Teeth. The Halo Machinima?
No, I thought we were talking about the red, white, and blue.
No, Red versus Blue.
Oh yeah. No, I've watched a couple episodes and I was very confused.
What season did you watch? First season, later seasons?
No idea.
If it was the later season, I don't blame you. This thing gets very continuity heavy. But again, I agree with you. I am totally terrified of someone just coming in saying, again, declaring all woke. And I do feel if really gets his way, it would go down to making other history canon, for example.
Which is so frustrating because Renee's story screwed with 52. I'm just
beyond the 52.
No, not New 52. 52, the miniseries where she became the Question.
Like, but you know what really pissed me off? He totally says 9/11 happened when that never happened in the DC universe. It was our world at war. It was the Luthor Tower that got knocked down. Luthor was president. He never did the Patriot Act. I'm sorry, that royally ticked me off. It's like 9/11 never happened in the DCU. It happened in Marvel, but not the DCU.
It sort of happened in Marvel.
Well, you know what I mean.
I think that issue was non-canon.
You know what I mean still.
Yes, I know exactly what you mean.
But for him to say, though, it's like the editorial dropped the ball royally on that one. Because, like I said, it was Luthor was president. Everyone knows Luthor was president.
Yes, because it's
except Ridley.
It's like the thing that everybody knows about Luthor is that he was president. Come on, guys.
Exactly. Dominic, since you like Red vs. Blue, Kathleen just sent me a reply to my tweet that I did, thanking her for playing Tex character in the show. But yeah, I mean, I saw in that Roy, especially because he was just using the Patriot accent and say like Renee didn't mind it. It's like he wanted to demonize her, but he couldn't demonize her because she was a cop. He was trying to demonize her because she was a cop, but couldn't go all the way because she was brown
and gay.
It didn't feel that way. Like he really wanted to demonize her, just like he wanted to demonize Gordon and Bullock
and Bumblebee.
And good God, was Bumblebee? Good God, that pissed. He had a hate on for Wolfman and Perez. That's what that showed. He has a hate on for those two because everything he did during that Bumblebee issue made it clear, I hate everything they did, and I'm going to criticize it. I'm going to have the characters they wrote say, oh, we hated this. I hated, but I resented Donna's wedding. That pissed me off. It feels like
he's doing a drive-by on the DC universe, and that's
I know, and the fact that and the fact that he did it at such a now again, I'm grateful this was Black Label and not canon.
Yes,
because otherwise he totally just gave a big F you to Christopher Priest.
Hey, that's why I'm still so angry about that Katana issue.
I know. Oh yeah, hey Tavia,
yeah. Chris was like, I'm trying to make this
find a middle ground. He's trying to find a middle ground.
And then Ridley's just like, nah,
nope. She was an angel. She was a sweet angel.
I'm just
hey Tavia, you're part of your. Sorry, I was saying, hey Tavia, if you're still there, you're like you. I see you regularly in the Read Comics comments. What do you feel about the people in the comments who seem to keep of the other history of the DC Universe issues that keep on praising it?
Edgy boys.
Oh no, they go there like, oh, I love this. Oh, this perfectly matches. Oh, this exactly matches the characters. Like, you don't know the characters then. Well, you have no idea about the characters.
They're the pirates. They just pretend they know the characters.
Yeah, these are people who are like, great, this is great. When is it coming on the Read Comics? Man,
why
I only do that.
Cancel? I don't understand.
I'll say this: I go to Read Comics to check the comments out, to see how these people are reacting to it.
I mean, it's basically like going on 4chan because most of the reading is going on there now.
Yep. Or I will say sometimes I do it on the Tuesday for the DC books, even though I know I'm going to buy them on Wednesday. It's like, I don't mind if I get spoiled. I'm still going to buy it.
Well, my biggest thing is that DC, I pay for the DC app, but it is so hard to get good screenshots from DC's app.
Oh, yeah. That's the other reason why I do Read Comics. If I need to use.
Because you can
at least when I do it from the Read Comics online. Not the other one where you have the little bar thing at the bottom.
Is that the Russian one?
Yeah, no. The Russian one is actually the one that doesn't have the bar at the bottom.
Oh, that's right.
It's the other one that does, and that pisses me off. You know what I mean? Or I go to Read All Comics. That one's one of the better ones. Unfortunately, that one has a little, what's it called? Watermark.
Ah.
But still, with Infinite Frontier, though, where are you standing with where that's going? And also, do you think the Quintessence are dead?
So I try to be the change I want to see in the world. Perch just did a video about how the 12 things comic fans want.
Yeah. Which those first couple, I'm like, it's right.
But then it's like you secretly like sexy.
Oh, yeah, that one thing is the later ones. You're like,
no, we don't secretly. We actually like sexy women. What's wrong with you?
Exactly. But I'm saying those first couple were spot on. I will give them that.
Well, the one that I was like, yes, is people complain about events and then they buy them.
Yep.
I complain about events and then I don't buy them. So I haven't been reading Infinite Frontier because I don't want to spend. I want to be the change. If I don't want more events, I won't read them. I won't.
But you still bought the 0 issue at least, right? Because it led into everything else.
No, I did not buy the 0 issue.
Oh, even though it led into everything else. Okay, I will give you.
I tried to be the change.
I give you applause there. But and different question. In what books would you like to see a return to quality that kind of even here you feel like don't match up to what came before what's been going on?
Well, so of the 3 books I mentioned that Rebirth really just has all-time greats are Detective Comics by James Tynion, Wonder Woman by Greg Rucka, and Deathstroke by
What about Flash?
I'm not a Flash guy. I don't.
Okay, so even though Joshua Williamson probably did one of the best runs in ages,
it's not a comment on quality. I don't connect to him.
Okay, that's fair. I would say so. I do feel Williamson is, without being a protege, is actually the next Jeff Johns. And I mean, as far as love of continuity, planning things out, utilizing prior storylines that other people have just left hanging.
I would
Flash
agree.
one proved that.
And I really liked the pieces of the end of his run. Like, I liked the last issue of his run that I read, and I also liked Speed Metal. I thought those were both really good.
Wait, the last issue where he basically tried to explain everything. I know people hate it.
Wait, I thought
loved
that
it.
was Speed Metal where he fixed Heroes in Crisis.
Nope. That was because it was Reverse Flash who told him, "I did this."
Oh, that's right. Which
I liked
those. So I'm sure it was a high quality. It's just I'm not a Flash guy.
All right.
Detective Comics currently by Maruka Tamaki. Okay, really great book.
Oh, I agree. It surprised me. I thought they were introducing these support kids. I'm like, oh, great. And then they all get killed off. You're like, whoa, I did not see that. I saw one getting killed off. I'm like, okay, you're still going to have to they're dead. They're dead. What? Did that shock you too?
Mystery. It's a really good mystery. It is. Good.
Oh, what do you think about the one girl's father, though? Do you think he's going a little overboard?
Well, I mean, he's kind of a great over-the-top villain. I'm enjoying how crazy he is.
Yeah.
Like, he's so huge. He's like, oh my goodness, he's so
huge. Yeah, and that's what makes the cover so awesome with him in it. It's like...
Yes. And that mustache is awesome.
I keep on thinking he's almost like a beefed-up Thomas Wayne.
Yeah.
When I first saw him on the cover, I'm like, is that Thomas Wayne back from the dead? He looked like it, didn't he? Like a beefed-up Thomas?
It does. I didn't notice that before, but that's a really good insight.
Yeah. Okay, but yeah, with Tamaki, that's great.
Has been really great.
Yep.
Deathstroke, we'll have to see. I mean,
what do you think about this Deathstroke
really well Robin?
Yeah.
The idea of having Dinah being a big part of that is really interesting. So I'm very curious to see how she fits in.
I'm just curious though if they're going to bring back stuff from the Nu52 era. So they were tied there with Team 7.
Priest era.
Right. What I'm talking about was Dinah because, that ties into the Team 7 stuff.
I hope that's not too big because I really didn't like that.
I agree.
So Deathstroke, we don't really have the book yet, so I can't say if it's as good.
And Wonder Woman?
So Wonder Woman, it's good, but...
I'll say this. I regret dropping with Tamaki's run. I regret it.
I really like Tamaki's run. I know
what I'm saying. I regret it. That first issue really killed it for me right away. It just felt like, what? And because of her history, I didn't realize that DC kept her on a leash compared to Marvel. I thought it was going to be... Can you blame me? Given her history?
No.
Yeah, given her history and given how...
Even at DC, when she's doing that I Am Not Starfire book, you're like,
But again, I think that's throwing her a bone.
Sure, and I think that's fair.
That's what I like. I know people want to keep on saying, oh, that means she's going to do this or that. No, it means they're giving her a bone, putting it on a book that's definitely not in continuity so she can get it out of her system and keep playing ball in the main books.
Yeah.
Because personally, I think if they don't do it, I think she'd rebel.
And she's doing great, so it's working. Why are you...
Yeah, but they don't want to look at it that way. They don't want to look at it that way. They want to look at it as saying, because she's doing it, she's going to do it everywhere else.
Okay.
I know. But yeah, Detective has been great. Like I said, it surprises me.
It does me too.
Her Huntress stuff. She's the one writing the Huntress stuff, right?
Yeah.
That's been good.
I'm very excited about the Huntress one shot coming at the end of the month.
Yep. Um,
So the last one is Wonder Woman, and it's not bad, but I'm very frustrated that it's out of universe. Like
yeah.
all
But
these
it's
characters,
expanding something that Grant Morrison introduced was multiversity.
but it's not the way I think that you should treat A-list characters like Wonder Woman because it isolates her from mattering for too long, which is why
True.
they're double shipping it.
Which I think, and also the fact that 775 is not a big issue. That bothered me. You know what I mean?
Well,
It's not.
I think
Because
it's
you
because they're building to the 80th.
800. 800?
Well, I don't know what the numbering is going to be, but in October they're doing the 80th anniversary anthology. So
Right. No, I expect that, but that's going to probably be a separate book.
yeah, but I think they didn't want to cannibalize sales by doing too many in a row. Because
True.
I honestly think they kind of overdid the anthologies last year.
Oh, yeah. Joker, Catwoman, Robin, and Green Lantern. This year it's just so far Green
And Flash.
Arrow.
And
Oh,
Flash.
But no, Flash, though, was in its own book, though, not
But
a
it was
separate.
still the same format of like.
But it was still an
strips.
anniversary, though, and because it was going to be a big deal with the numbering.
Yes.
And Wonder Woman got that numbering, too, remember? So
Yes.
both of those were, I do not compare those to the anthologies. I look at those as separate things.
I still think that the regular comic reader looks at them and is like, oh yes, and so I think they worry that they cannibalize sales if they did two in a row.
True. But I'm just saying, we had 775 as 5. That should have been like a milestone when you're coming that close to 800.
Did that one already happen?
Yeah, I think so, or it's going to happen. Hold on, let me check my list. 775 is next week,
Okay.
and it's a regular issue.
Well, like I said, I think that's really because they don't want to
Cannibalize, like you
sales
said.
for October.
Now, are there any new books you've been liking?
Oh, Robin's great. Um,
Are you looking forward to Justice League Infinity?
I need to catch up on Batman Adventures Continue Season 2 because
Well, there's only one issue so far, so
yeah, but
second issue comes out this week.
I like that first one, so I need to catch up on.
Oh, I feel bad for Ty Templeton.
Oh, why?
Well, the cancer stuff and everything. Didn't you hear?
Oh, no, I didn't.
You didn't hear? Yeah, he's had cancer. He has cancer now. He said his odds are very favorable, but who knows?
Cancer is
As far as other books I've been getting, like Geiger, I'm loving with Jeff Johns and Gary Frank. Their image book.
Right. I'm trying to think of any other new books I'm reading. I mean, I'm not really.
What about Green Lantern? You're one of those who have issues, Jeffrey Thorne, right?
I do, but I didn't read Green Lantern even before he was on the book. It's like Flash.
All right. What about Crime Syndicate? Even though it's just a mini.
No, I don't.
Swamp Thing.
I want to read Swamp Thing, but I kind of think that because it's a mini, I want to read it all at once.
Suicide Squad.
I gave up, unfortunately.
The Detective. Now, not one of Tom Taylor's best.
It's an AU future where he's killed off most of the supporting cast and he's replacing them with his own supporting cast. And the supporting cast he's using isn't bad. I like the fact that he's using Knight and a new Squire, but I don't like futures where the traditional supporting cast dies. So that frustrates
me. What about Justice League Last Ride?
I don't read Justice League.
All right. The Joker.
I mean, that has been my favorite book on the stands for 4 months, so that is continuing to be awesome.
Urban Legends.
That one's gone really down the tubes for me, but I have big hopes for September because they have this thing where it's all future Batman. So it's going to be Batman 1 Million,
Beyond,
Batman Beyond, Future State, and I think one other Batman.
Right.
And I think that's really cool. That's a kind of themed anthology that I think could be nice.
All right.
I don't like most of the stories they're doing, and I've had a chance to read the next issue, and the Batgirl story is awful.
Is it anywhere near as bad as the? I mean, okay, be honest with the Robin story. Is it
The
going
Tim
down the route we were
series?
fearing with what?
The Trim Jig series?
The Tim one, yeah. Is it going the route people were assuming with the first chapter?
Or
Or
they're
were they
being ambiguous.
still being? They're still being
They're
ambiguous.
still being ambiguous, so I can't tell.
I don't get why. Why are they using this book to derail everything that's been done in the main books?
Yeah, that's kind of why
Like they did it with Norfree. They're doing it now with Tim and Steph.
Actually,
Oh, how that could-
the Norfree stuff. I think you might be happy with how they're handling that. They actually have
they
addressed
finally
it.
acknowledged it.
Yes,
But after all, in the last chapter, they're acknowledging it.
yes.
So was there a reason why it was her specifically, or could it have
Well-
been anyone else in that room?
I think you'll be interested in how it goes because it didn't go the way I was expecting.
Okay, that's first of all. When you have the authority involved, it could be anything.
Yeah.
Or no,
exactly.
the Wildcats. Sorry, the Wildcats.
Right.
If you have the Wildcats involved, it could be anything. So, okay, what about Nightwing? What have you been seeing about Nightwing?
So Nightwing is a very pretty book, and I just think it's not a very efficient book.
Oh, especially when they're introducing like another daughter of Zuko, and yet it's not. And now they're saying
that actually I think was handled reasonably well, but I think that
the change does not. Why?
there's just not a lot of sharpness to the writing right now. It feels like
Also, yep,
it's
right here.
it's a little aimless. It hasn't quite developed a sense of urgency.
Too many gimmicks.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of describing it.
Now, I would say this as well, though. I feel like this and the Teen Titans editorials they are taking shots at each other. I think, or at least the Titans one is when the moment they decide to have it be, oh yeah, it's going to be Dick and Babs over in Nightwing, but we're still going to have Corey. It's like you're setting up a disaster doing that.
And the fans are angry about it, and they're not. It's not making anyone happy. I don't understand.
And I blame the Teen Titans editorial. I do not blame the Nightwing editorial.
Well, I mean, it's obvious that Nightwing's been trying to get Dick and Babs. The writers at least have for years.
Yeah, whereas, unfortunately, and I know there's a lot of people who prefer Dick and Corey. They were technically first.
Yes, they were technically first.
But it does feel like the editorial and Tim Sheridan decided, like, because they probably, I bet you it's mostly because, given how they ever have Red X, fans of the anime series, that's all they'll ever see. But at least we'll give props. At least they were not dumb enough to have Corey be all in for it. She is put off, but it did not make Dick look good.
No.
But I will give that. At least they didn't make Corey be all in for it. Thinking, she's like, really?
Let me think. What other books we got?
Well, Batman Superman's ending.
Here's my question for you. Oh man, I was so angry about Batman Superman because they had the Old West cover. So I was like, "Is this the Justice Writers?" And the answer is no. It was a lie.
Okay, but what? Which book?
What? Okay, I think there's going to be at least 2 books coming out of Fear State for Batman.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think they are? I think my personal pitch is that I think they're going to be Batgirls and
definitely Batgirls
and Outsiders.
Ooh, Outsiders. That would be nice.
But what do you think?
I agree, actually. I agree with those once you said that. I mean, I agree with Batgirls. Definitely Batgirls.
I mean, it's very clear they're building to it.
And Outsiders, they've been kind of building toward, but not a lot.
Well, I mean, it had the Future State thing, and it also had the Urban Legends thing. And it said in Urban Legends that it was coming in the fall. So that's my reasoning.
That is very true. That is very true.
If it's Brandon Thomas on The Outsiders, it's going to be awesome.
Brandon Thomas? Oh, yeah. Brandon Thomas, yes. It was Brandon Easton. No.
Not so much.
The guy doing the Mr. Miracle book.
Yeah.
Which, it's clear that's an alternate content, even though they are not labeling it as such.
I mean, it's so hard to make New Gods these days into...
No, but you know how I know? Because you have a daughter of Scott Free and Big Barda. You have, and all this stuff. It's like, it's clearly set in an alternate universe then.
Yeah, when did you have time, guys?
When Weapon did Jacob. Everyone wants to bring Jacob from Tom King's run.
Well, I mean, at the end of Tom King's run, he says, isn't Barda pregnant again?
it was yeah, but remember that's an alternate thing because he's stuck in the oh, what's it called? The Omega Sanction. Or the anti-life equation. The anti-life equation. Well, if he doesn't, he dies, remember?
Shush. I choose to believe the happy ending.
Well, you know what I mean, but
I do.
obviously,
I actually am very frustrated with Mr. Miracle because of that.
Yeah, and especially, good God almighty, I really hated the second issue. You know what I mean?
Oh, of the new series?
Yeah, the new one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry, they had the new one. Because it's just playing up again this whole, oh, we find out he's black, we must hate him.
Oh, man, they did so much of that in Marvel, and it just got really tired.
Oh, yeah, and now they're doing it here with certain creators, and that's when the scene is getting me worried. That's why I say I feel about the fear about the rug being pulled out.
I still hope not, and I don't see it, but I definitely am always worried.
Well, okay, well, let me ask them, what about something like Checkmate going on?
So I've read, I think just the
first issue. Only one issue's out.
Yeah, I didn't hate that.
Yeah.
It was very, very Bendis, and not kind of the best Bendis, but it wasn't the worst Bendis.
But not the worst. And I think he's actually gotten a good footing with Justice League. I think because it's going back to his Avengers stuff.
Yeah.
Where he can do big, but still with a grounded element.
I do wish he would get back to doing Naomi, though.
Oh, yeah. But continuing in Justice League was not bad.
Sure, yeah. But, like...
What about Harley Quinn? Are you glad that Rossmo's off the book?
No, I like Rossmo on Harley Quinn.
Really?
Really, I think that he's a really good fit for what's going on.
I think Laura Braga, whatever her name is going to do better.
I think she's going to be good. But I just, the way that he draws, Kevin, the clown.
Oh, yeah, but what about the way he draws Hugo Strange, how he's like...
I kind of like that. It makes him very...
He's a lumberjack! He looks like a lumberjack!
I'm a lumberjack.
Lumberjack and I'm okay. Work all night. I sleep all night. And I work all day. I
know. No, I've really enjoyed Harley Quinn. I'm worried that they're gonna make Ivy a hero because I think that you need to redeem her.
I think Catwoman is trying to give and Swamp Thing are trying to give a way out, and unfortunately, I think it's going to blow up. I think Rambi is trying his hardest to give us two Ivies that can make it work, but these psychos out there are going to be like, no, we don't want a copy. We want the real deal.
Yes. Oh, did you read the recent Catwoman annual?
I did read it, yes.
What, did you like it?
I thought it was actually all right.
I thought it was awesome because it brought back the old Order of Saint Dumas.
Oh yeah, that I will agree with. I love it.
Castles.
And tying Father Valley into all of it without it being full on with Batman.
That was good. Oh, and Batman coming back to save her at the end. Oh
yep.
No, sorry, that's this issue. That's coming. Okay.
Oh, spoilers! Spoilers, dude! Come on!
Well, Batman's coming to Catwoman because he's on the cover.
Yeah, it's cover sometimes lie.
Not this time.
but still, I mean, you get where I'm saying though with all this.
No, I agree. I don't trust those Poison Ivy fans one bit.
Yeah, because they don't know the characters at all. They just want lesbians.
Well, it's not just that. They're like, Poison Ivy has to be lesbian eco-terrorist, and they think eco-terrorist is good. Like, environmentalist is good, but eco-terrorist is good.
I know. It's like, but see though, but it's like,
and single mother. And I'm just sitting here thinking that is way too many categories. You're trying to.
The single mother. That story wasn't bad. That series.
No, I'm not saying it's bad, but like making that a core of the character.
I agreed. Hell no. But yeah, but it feels like, and again, I applaud Rambi for trying.
Yeah,
it's obviously he's continuing off of the Harley Ivy mini, where you had the two. I think he's playing off of that. Where once that happened in the green, they both exist.
Yes.
again, I think the problem is now if he was willing enough to have it be the original real deal is the lesbian and the copy is the evil one, I think these people will be happy, but we know that's not going to happen because you can't have it. Right?
Nice things, Poison Ivy fans.
Right. They're poison. Poison Ivy fans are poison. But again, with what I'm saying though is that because you think that's where MV's going, based off of Catwoman and all that.
I think that they're going. I think my personal prediction is they're going to unite the Ivies, and then they're going to have to struggle for her soul. That's my worry. Is that they'll just unite it and it'll be magically fixed. I don't want that.
No, but they already did that though at the end of the Harley Ivy stuff. They just be rehashing. That's why I don't think they're going to rehash it.
I mean, we'll have to see. I'm not
Again, sure. That would be a total rehash, and I think because Ivy, as in Ivy, the good side, is powerless. I think that's the other reason why. And I think, like I said, I really just hope they just send her off to be with Harley. May I ask, with the prior, Harley title, the one that Palmiotti and Connor did that, where did you stand on that run?
I don't like Palmiotti and Connor's Harley Quinn because they did take away some of like the really dark stuff, like her blowing up a bunch of kids. Like,
yeah.
Obviously, that's not. But they still have her like slaughtering random people on the road.
True.
Like, I get that it's supposed to be funny, but like
and self-contained. I think it was supposed to be self-contained. Like never be canon.
It's an alternate universe, so I don't mind that. But it wasn't to my taste, so I didn't enjoy it.
No, but one thing I did like is that they actually would be that they make it very clear she's bi because she has two love interests. You have Ivy and what was his name? Maston. What?
Wasn't it the guy with the toolbox?
No, not Red Tool. Not Red Tool. The other one, the one that had a mother who was mafia.
Oh, I think I missed that one.
Yeah, he gets killed off near the end of their run.
Ah.
And she is devastated.
Very sad.
Yeah. So it seems like that they were making it very clear. Oh no, she is. Swings always. Because I would say so many times right here, people are like, why? Like, oh, if she's bi, why isn't she with a guy? Why does she have to be with a guy to be bi? Sounds like you want to straight.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't like this thing where it's like, oh, if you're bi, you have to be with two people. Like,
no. But but that's but those two did have a beat where it's so clear she and Ivy are a thing, but she also is very deeply in love with this one guy. To the point where again, she is so devastated by his death that she kills that mayor guy. Well, no, she goes fights her way through to where he lives, kills his secretary, and leaves her head right in between his legs, and then has her love interest's mother slaughter him. So she can get a bit of action in.
That's so violent.
It was, but when you think about it, given how much she loved him, would you really think Harley would do any less?
It's just not my kind of book.
Well, what about after they left? Especially when you had Sam Humphries.
I love Sam Humphries' run. I actually did reviews for it, and
you liked what he did with her mother and all that?
I thought that was really touching. I thought it was very sincere and worked very well. I love
how he did villains. The villains. You're the villain. We have it be. Oh, that's not canon.
That was hilarious.
I agree.
The part where she's like, "Oh, look at this! It's the kind of action you only get to the pages of DC Comics."
It's like they're leaning on the fourth wall without breaking it.
It was so good.
Yeah.
And the final arc where she has to face the sadness of her mother dying and her friend dying, I thought that was really well done.
Oh yeah, and the stuff with Booster as well. Again, similar to Palmiotti and Connor.
Was also really good.
And I think Humphries had a good handle on Booster, better than Tom King.
Are you excited about Blue and Gold?
Let me think. You have Blue and Gold together again, written by Dan Jurgens. Yes.
And art by Ryan Sook.
Ryan Sook. Good God, that guy is great. But I hope he had enough lead time for it because the guy can also get delayed.
Yes.
Remember,
he's gonna look great.
Remember, OMAC Project. The delays on that.
And Young Justice too.
Oh, and Young Justice.
Oh, sorry, Legion of Superheroes.
Oh, that's my Legion. Yeah.
Yep.
Because boy, howdy, the delays on that OMAC project. I still remember that. That was like the one that was always delayed out of all of the books. Because when you have him alongside Justiano, we're not going to talk about that guy. Dale Eaglesman and Ivan Rice. He was the slowest of them.
Oh my goodness, that's slow.
Yeah. Yeah, when you compare it against Ivan Rice, Dale Eaglesman, depending on his, what's going on in his life. And then Justiano, of course, nowadays, I don't think he's able to do anything from prison, so you do know about that, right?
Which one is he again? Unfortunately, there's more
Okay,
than one.
he was the one who did Day of Vengeance.
No, but what did he do to get in jail?
Hard drive that ended up giving the wrong hard drive that had kid porn on it.
Oof.
One of those type of situations, yes.
It's super depressing that there's more than one of those.
Oh yeah, well, what was his name? The guy who also worked on Justice League International after
Gerard Jones.
Yeah. Well, wait, apparently Justiano is still doing stuff, so I guess was he? Oh, okay. He was sentenced to 10 years, suspended sentence after he served 3 years in prison following a 10-year probation. Okay, but he pleaded guilty to second-degree possession of child porn, and this was all in 2012. Yeah, no, he's never gonna work at DC again.
Nope.
Yeah, he was the one who drew the Beast Boy miniseries back in 2000.
Oh, really? I really like that miniseries.
Yeah, and he also did the Countdown to Mystery stuff that was one of the last works that the guy who created Howard the Duck. You know what I'm talking about, right? No, not the movie. Steve Gerber.
George
Steve Gerber.
Lucas.
Steve Gerber. It was one of the last things Steve Gerber did before he died, where he was trying to reintroduce Dr. Fate. And then the last issue ended up being Mark Waid, Gale, and Mark Evanier coming up with their own different endings for it, and left things really ambiguous to which ending was canon.
Canon is just what you want.
Yep, and it took until Mark Guggenheim, but he hasn't done much stuff in comics either, has he?
He's been working on TV.
Yeah, that's true, working. To which I'm totally divided on. I love his comic work, though. That at DC, I mean, not his Marvel work.
Okay. I was like,
Yeah, his DC work.
His Marvel stuff was a little,
Flash, the fastest man alive. When he took over, I mean. Hold on, let me see what else he did. Why would I care about his net worth? That just popped right up there, like, his net worth. Like, don't care.
Richer than me.
Probably.
Well, he works on TV, he better be.
Yeah, well, he was one of those working on Amazing Spider-Man, obviously, but I know he did some other stuff at DC. Apparently, he's from a family of screenwriters.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, apparently the others he has other people there. Hold on, I see I got something. Hold on. Well, obviously the Arrow. Oh, he took over Justice Society of America from issue 44 all the way till the final issue before Nu52. He also did. Oh, that was pretty much the only other stuff he did. At least, wait, there has to be more. No, there has to be more.
I'm still salty about his X-Men Gold.
Oh, yeah. I remember. What about his young X-Men he did?
I don't think I read that.
Yeah, that's one where he took some of the characters Joss Whedon created during his Astonishing X-Men and gave him centerfold.
Oh, neat.
Including Blindfold.
Hey, I like Blindfold.
Yep. She actually got a big part during that.
Nice.
Hey, they have everything here, but they don't talk about his Flash run. What the hell? And I'm on DC.com.
Well, DC.com is terrible.
Yeah, but you think they would mention that, at least, his Flash work. That is weird. Oh, apparently he's done with the Arrowverse last year, huh?
Well, I thought he was doing a ton of stuff for like Amazon.
Oh well. So, you know what? I got Brand want to say, Nerdette did a video a while ago where she talked about Gotham City Sirens and pointed out they don't write them like that anymore. She's right. They don't write them like Gotham City Sirens anymore. There's a lot of stuff they did in there that you couldn't get away with these days.
Yeah.
Like, look at Gilliam March.
Harley was still in love with Joker at that time, so...
Yeah, but I'm saying, look at Gilliam March's artwork. These days, it's pulled back on the sexiness, I mean.
Well, DC just doesn't put Gilliam March on those books anymore.
That's true. When they should.
He's on Joker he's on Joker right now, and I think...
he's doing Grand Joker, but they really should put him back on something sexy.
Well, I mean, he did that one book, which is all about, like, naked people flying through the air of France, which is super weird.
What was that?
Oh, it's an indie book. What is it called?
Do I even want to know?
Carmen. It's a miniseries he did, and it got translated, so it's coming out right now.
Wait, what language is he?
He's French.
Oh, okay. Oh! That explains so much!
Yep.
That explains both the artwork and needing translations.
Yep.
But, it explains his slowness, though. Because he could be slow.
He's been pretty good recently, though.
Well, recently, yeah, but you know how notorious he was beforehand.
That's true. He did dip out of...
Although I think that either because of his slowness or he kept getting pulled to other books, I think.
That's also true. He was kind of everywhere in the
yeah, I remember that right as we were leading to the Flashpoint stuff, he was all over the map on the Bat books. Like, they would have him do some of the annuals or the covers, or they would have him do all this. It's like, dude, just keep him in one place. But I will say this. I also do like, though, how they have the women be in Gotham City Sirens be fallible. Yeah. You know what I mean? You don't get that much these days. Not like that. Not like they did there, anyway.
Well, there's no way they would allow someone to write Ivy the way Dini wrote Ivy.
Oh, yeah. Writing a threat in Catwoman and everything. Like, they give her the identity of Batman. Remember that?
Yeah.
All it is was Dini. I love Beth. Was when he brought in, what was the Joker's old henchman? Gaggy. I never knew who Gaggy was until Paul Dini brought him in. And now he hated Harley. But I love how when he's explaining the back during the Silver Age stuff, Harley's like, all right, he called it the what the hell was I thinking days. Although I have to wonder, is that a pot shot, Dini? Is that a pot shot? Oh, speaking of the what?
I think it was definitely trying to be a little tongue-in-cheek, for sure.
Yep. Oh, speaking of which, the Asian book that was out, you want to know the one character I was shocked to see in there? Abuse.
Which one?
Abuse. The little kid who can actually, because he still has venom in his system, can roy down to this big guy. He was from the Streets of Gotham. Streets of Gotham.
Well, yeah. I mean,
but they brought him into the Asian book.
Yeah, because Dustin Nguyen did a solo story.
I know, but I love that, though. You know what I mean? Because I didn't expect that, because I love Abuse. I wish they did more with that kid.
I wish they'd given him a different name.
Well, true, but it sounds like something a kid would come up with.
True. It just seems like he's very.
But he was a great friend. He was a great friend for Damian.
He was.
But yeah, it just feels like, again, someone needs to do, besides Dustin, needs to do more with him. Because he has such potential, doesn't he? And he's not. But that book treated him like he's part of the Bat family when we know he's not.
Well, I mean, that was kind of like a little out of universe thing. I think.
Was it? A lot of those stories were pretty in universe, with the exception of the Green Lantern book story.
I personally think most of them were out of universe, but
okay.
My interpretation.
Even the Cassandra one.
If that's in universe, it's from
earlier.
It's set in the earlier continuity.
True, especially because she was barely talking.
Well, and also, it's not her current costume. It's not the one with the goggles. And
True.
I look at it the same way as we got the Robin story with Stephanie Brown, which was clearly set in continuity, but back in War Games days.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that this Batgirl story is back in the early 2000s.
True, but they did simplify explaining how her training by her father worked. They simplified it.
Well, you have to simplify some unless you want to just retell the whole story.
Well, not just that, but like, given how complicated that stuff was with how her, she read people and everything, it was the language of violence and all that stuff. That got really convoluted when you ask it, or not that easy to explain unless you read the original run.
Yes.
Okay,
well,
I'm thinking we're running out.
The original run, it was a little complicated.
Mm-hmm. What did you think of it, though? Be honest. Do you think it was necessary to make her be the daughter of Lady Shiva? Or do you feel that was a little bit of a... Nope.
I don't like it.
Not a fan?
I don't like it at all. Now, Joseph Illich has recently said that they were always thinking about that being a possibility. But if you look at how those first 2 years of the comic were written, I don't think that it makes sense.
Not even after that, her training cast?
I feel like if they'd meant it, they would have added a different layer to it. I think that it just doesn't.
But you can see why people would assume it, though, right?
Well, because they're racist and everyone's Asian.
Whoa! No, I don't think, though, that last writer was planning on that.
I do not have a good opinion of Anderson Gabrick as a writer, so I'm just...
Now, but where do you stand then on how it's still been continued on going forward?
Well, I mean, once you do that, you can't undo it.
Right. So, and for many people, it makes too much sense.
I think Brian Hill made Shiva too soft. She's always constantly talking about how, I love you, Cassandra.
That's true. I think Tom Taylor got her right during Deceased.
Yes, I think that was a better handling of Shiva.
Especially the whole ripping her own heart out to kill herself.
That was pretty badass.
I love that unkillable saying. But yeah, Jason and Rose. That's a coupling I like.
A lot of people do.
I know. I mean, to be honest, there was a brief time where I paired Rose with Tim, all because of that whole incident 1 year later. I'm sorry, that incident was just like, this isn't what it looks like. Yes, it is. Again, Rose, I love her Ravager. I know there's people who don't. They prefer her pre what Jeff Johns got his hands on her, which I understand. And I know people like Lynn Carl look at what happened to her as a regression. I don't. Do you? Or do you think it was unfortunately putting her in a spot where people didn't know what to do with her?
Well, I think it's clear that no one except Priest really knows what to do with her.
Well, now, I think Kroll kind of did.
You mean in the Ravagers in the Nu52?
No. I'm talking about his final Teen Titans stuff before Flashpoint.
Oh.
I said Kroll.
I think that was okay. But...
Well, you want to know what he had planned was? He wanted her to be the low, and the lowest the super, and he wanted to be her to be the lowest to Superboy. Cassie being the Wonder Woman. That's how he kind of saw it, the strong woman who has her own thing, and he felt like those two were meant to be, Connor and Rose.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I remember talking to him about it at a convention once. He said that was always the end game, was to have those two eventually get together, because he said that he saw Rose as his Lois. It's Connor's Lois. Whereas Cass, which is his Diana, which he's like, you would think they would get together. But in the end, they wouldn't. I'm not saying I fully agree with it, but...
I still think that no one really knows what to do with Cassie, so...
Well, yeah, but as far as with Rose, though, yeah, Lobdell really didn't get her. At all. But yeah, it took until Priest before someone finally got an understanding to do with her. Although, I'll be honest, as much as I like it, I did not care for the split personality.
That was a weird one for sure. I have come to...
And her being married.
Oh, but I like the married thing. I was very...
I know, I did too, but at the same time, but just like two out of nowhere when it happened. It was like, wait, what?
Well, that's one thing where I think Priest kind of ran out of time, because he...
that was right after the Teen Titans crossover, before he had to lead into what would they call it? When he had the United or whatever, He was trying to go be a hero.
Yes. However, the uh, he did those 2 crossovers. He did
Yep. The original,
the Batman versus Deathstroke, and then he did
Arkham.
the Arkham, and that kind of sidelined
And then that led right in
for a long time.
Yep, and that eventually would lead into well, him being dead.
Yes.
And I would say he's the only other person that actually did something in continuity with the Dark Multiverse.
It was great.
That other one where basically played up on a lot of stuff he had done, like, oh, this is a world where he that Damien is his son and all that, and it's like, boy, that other Slade was sad. Would you agree with that?
Who was that?
I said that Deathstroke, that other Deathstroke.
Well, yeah.
He was a sad SOB.
That's kind of the point, though, is that he was trying to show that Deathstroke, even when faced with the worst possible version of himself, still wouldn't stop being an asshole.
I will just say this. You know what still was my favorite line, and it was from the last issue? Not in front of the turkey! You know, with Wintergreen showing up at the end.
Yes.
Oh. But you know what I mean? No, you know what I'm talking about, right? That line. Wintergreen, not in front of the turkey. I love that line. But yeah, I gotta say, the fact is though, what Cat and Priest made it very clear, doesn't matter how hard he tries, he's always gonna be a bastard. No matter what. It's just like ingrained in his genetics. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Would you say that's what Priest was going for? Making it clear, no matter how hard he tries, no matter what good he tries to do, he will always be a bastard.
Well, I think the thing is he could choose not to. I don't think it's necessarily a genetic thing.
Well, I said that in a more figurative sense, you know.
I think that he is simply unwilling to give up his selfishness, and that's really what is the quality that warps him.
True. That's very true. That is very true. And I think, yeah, even seeing him as most selfish with his Dark Multiverse counterpart, he just couldn't let it go. Although it did make sense to have it be that counterpart is the one who killed Rose's husband, whatever his name was. But boy, that was a shock, wasn't it? Now, here's the thing, though. Did you expect it to be a Dark Multiverse counterpart? Or did that blow you away?
That was like, whoa, he actually took Dark Multiverse and made it really awesome.
Yeah, but I mean, so what were you expecting this to be? A clone or something? I mean, obviously they were setting up there was something off about this guy from his very first appearance.
I was kind of expecting it to be like resurrected Deathstroke. Like he came back wrong, Pet Sematary.
Yeah, so hence why you would think his memories were off because he was mentioning Raven and all that.
Right.
So, and yet, at the same time, though, yeah, I did enjoy it overall. So I think we've gone on long enough. Thanks for coming on, man.
Well, I hope that the Nu52 talk was interesting to you.
Oh, it was. It really was. And again, thank you for showing me stuff. I can't believe I got caught in another blockchain. Funny thing is, Gail told me when she had me unblocked, oh, I don't do blockchains.
Well, it's quite possible that she got like a huge harassment mob and just felt overwhelmed.
That could very well be. That happened before, and I gotta start unfollowing a lot of people because I'm getting tired of that shit.
Yeah, you gotta make your Twitter experience what it is.
All right. Well, see you guys later, and take care. Thanks again for coming on, man.